Welcome again to the 5-minute movement. Just 5 minutes of moving that's going to get you moving in all sorts of ways. So today is focusing a little bit more on the lower body, especially a little bit of mobility and a little bit of strength work, all built in to one. So here we go. Let's get the timer set. Okay, bird timer is ready to go, and so am I. All right, so I'm going to start by simply coming into a parallel footed stance and lowering my tailbone just a little bit into my squat and coming back up again. So this is a parallel footed squat. It's a little different than some of the things we sometimes do. So I'm lowering the tailbone and coming back up. Now, this is the first thing I've done today, so I'm not going to go necessarily right away to my deepest depth. I'm just checking to see how my joints are feeling today and maybe what my range is in this unfamiliar position. I could bring my hands out front for counterbalance, and I'm just going to bring my tailbone down and up, keeping my gaze forward, but not trying to keep my spine vertical. Instead, I'm letting the angle of my torso adjust to the angle of my shins. So I'm not trying to keep myself vertical like this, but instead you'll see from my head to my tailbone matches the angle of my knees to my ankles, more or less. A few more times just to see how my joints are feeling, how I'm feeling. I can try different hand positions. Okay, so now, in order to pattern the stability of that a little bit further, I'm going to come into a single-legged stance, and that doesn't mean that one foot is completely lifted. Instead, especially if this is the first thing I've done today, I'm going to let my free foot give a bit of an assist. So most of my weight is in my right foot, but my left foot is still touching down. And I'm just going to reach down both sides of my stable leg and back up again. So I might reach down to just above knee level to begin with. And then if that felt okay, maybe knee level, maybe a little bit below. Maybe the level of my shin. Maybe the level of my ankle. And while I'm doing this, a second time now, starting higher up and then moving lower, I'm now going to pay attention to that knee really tracking over the middle toe and trying to minimize this kind of wobbling that I may have felt in the first round while I was getting used to it. So first of all, just reaching down a little bit on both sides, noticing what I need to do to stabilize and coming back up. Reaching down and coming back up. Now you might note that I'm pulling myself down toward the floor rather than letting gravity do the work for me. So I want to engage my muscular effort the entire time. So I have this sense of pulling myself down and then pushing myself back up. Pulling myself down and pushing myself back up. And then I'm going to switch to the other side. Small at first, a little bit down, and back up, noticing how I'm feeling. Maybe a little bit further, embracing the wobble of the knee, but seeking to try to stabilize it a little bit more each time. Asking myself, how could I bring a little bit more stability into that area? Going a little further down. A little further up. Again. Starting higher up, then going a little bit lower, a little bit lower still, and a little bit lower still. All right, now that I've patterned that idea of being on one leg, I'm going to take that for a bit of a walk. So I'm going to start at one end of my space, and I don't need a big space to do this, and I'm going to sit down a little bit into a little bit of a squat. Send my weight over to one side so that I can reach the other foot forward, transfer the weight. And it's like I'm moving through molasses here. So you can see that there is no falling. It's controlled the entire time. And you can test that by asking yourself to stop. Can you stop at any movement, at any moment in this move? The slower you go, the harder it is. So I find my stability and then I move. Transfer the weight. And when I get to the edge of where I can go, I just turn around and I go back the other way. So the slower I go, the harder this is. The smoother I go, the harder it is. And the lower I go, the harder it is. So I'm going to try going lower and keeping my head low rather than letting it bob up and down. And I've reached my limit there, so I'm going to go back the other way. Can I go any lower here? And note there is no moment of falling where I'm losing control. So this is a very, very stable and controlled movement. This time, instead of turning around, I'm going to see, can I go backwards? That's a different experience. Now, going backwards, you're going to want to take a very small step back at first, because it can be quite the mobility challenge. You can do anything you want with your hands here. Again, can you find that control both in the back and the forward manifestations of this? This time I'm going to pause for a moment in this position and go down up a few times. And then I'm going to continue and try the other side. So that's just one way to play with that movement, with a little bit of down, up, down, up. You could also do a little bit of twisting. That's a good one. You could, in the down, up position, close your eyes for just, in the down position, close your eyes and see if you can maintain your balance. So there are a couple of ways that you can play with that pattern and be interested in all sorts of things around balance and stability and the strength of your lower leg, of your legs. So I hope you enjoyed that, and looking forward to moving with you again soon, I hope. Bye now.